Hello, I hope that everybody's doing well. Before we get into the reading, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with everyone's highest good. It seems like, I don't know if you were looking for it or you're just going to receive it, but something's going on like emotionally, intuitively, that's going to give you clarity related to something that's going on for you. So this can even be a moment too where you're checking in and being like, how do I feel about this? What does that mean for me? Intuitively, what is that telling me? We're starting off with the King of Swords. Temperance. So we have Sag and Pluto here with Temperance and the Judgment card. So it looks like there's going to be a conversation or something is going to be said or called out, but there's a notion of not wanting to rush into doing this yet. So whatever it is that's going to be communicated, even that you want to get off of your chest, there's something about like working with the energy and finding a way to communicate. Maybe even something needs to be reworked. This feels like a somewhat delicate operation here. If you hear running around, that's just O in the background. What it looks like to me is that initially something happens and maybe you want to jump on saying something about it, but the guides are saying, take your time right now. Don't jump on saying something. You being patient with this and sitting with it and really like questioning how you feel and getting underneath everything is going to help you use your discernment in a way that benefits you in relation to what you're saying and also allows you to clearly articulate what needs to be communicated or said or called out. It's a moment where you don't want to say something too soon, simply put. But there's definitely an emphasis on you taking the time to process everything. So you have Sagittarius and Capricorn here. Sag, Pluto, Capricorn, Mars. Yeah, taking the time to address something, maybe a touchy subject. Because I'm even seeing something like fall apart because of this, potentially. But it's something that it's not meant to be glued together. It's a moment where maybe something was glued together that wasn't meant to be glued together, and that's why the Tower is coming through. So something was going on that was out of alignment, and the Tower is here to knock it all down. It seems in a way like you're kind of the messenger of this, and because you are the messenger, there may be like a delicate way that you want to do this. Something even karmic about the unfolding of events here. I'm seeing something that looked even like a ticking time bomb to get to this point. And you may also be in a place too where you're looking for a solution and maybe even to clear something out rather than like to create more of a karmic effect with whatever this is. So rather than building more, you may be at a point where you're like, I want to clear this out instead of building on top of it. It even seems like it's time for a cycle to be completed now, karmically speaking. 518, I'm getting ringing in my left ear. If you look up the angel number, that can give you more insight. Something was not built to last. So it was fated that things would separate in this way. What I'm getting, like with the devil, I'm getting some really stuck energy. And it seems like that's why the tower comes through in such an intense way. Otherwise, I don't think that this energy would be budged by it. It seems very much in this spread like the only thing that is going to like break even like the chain that the devil has to something here, the only way that that like attachment even, or that illusion or whatever it is with the devil is going to be broken is by like that intense Mars energy. So it even had to break apart in this way in order for it to happen. Something about it needing to be like almost intense for it to stick. In a way, you could have seen this coming with the Wheel of Fortune and the World, which feels very much like a time's up moment, and this cycle is ready to be completed. It seems like something that you could have observed or even predicted would be happening at this point. There may have been a strong past life energy with this person as well. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm seeing this notion of like the way that you even traverse the devil here is through the High Priestess, and the High Priestess is like the only way is through the tower. That's the only way to get the stuck energy moving. And the devil can even represent like things within our like physical material reality. And the High Priestess coming through is about how we gain insight through our intuition, our psychic abilities, things like that. So it even seemed like you couldn't rely on something maybe physical, and you needed to rely on like mediumship or your intuition, whatever your relationship is with the High Priestess. That's what was like going to help you get unstuck from the binds of like whatever the devil represents for you. So it's even about like ascending onto a higher plane. So things can be built back up in the way that they're meant to. Seeing a stable foundation, a stable relationship, there being a sense of harmony, clarity. So I'm seeing something being worked on, and there's a sense of insight gained, even like information and understanding, a basis for which to stand on and gain this sense of clarity. And there's a notion of recognizing that one is not meant to hold on to something that they had been holding on to, And I'm even seeing truth prevail in a way where it like tells you what needs to be released here. This can even be like a shocking moment of realizing the truth, or like having some epiphany, and in a way it even feels jarring. It's like I'm seeing somebody's third eye. There was like some sort of blockage before because of the devil, and then they get connected to the high priestess, and then it's like they can't see anything else except for like out of the third eye for that moment, and it leads to a tower. And although it's abrasive, it's one where there's like a cleansing energy that comes with it. And this person realizes, oh, like that's the thing that I was holding on to that I needed to let go of. It becomes very obvious when before it hadn't been. So there's a notion of getting ready even to communicate something. It can be with another person. It can also be you with yourself here. About even the fate of a connection. Taking your time to complete the lesson and move to a space where you feel stable and grounded. The thing too with Temperance and the World here is that with Saturn brings through lessons, and when we have contacts within our synastry with people, especially hard aspects with Saturn, there are lessons that we're meant to work through, kind of like being in school. And so when we put in the work, so with Temperance and Saturn here, when we are patient and we put in the work and we take our time to complete the lesson, we then get the benefits of it. And I'm seeing somebody get to a point where they've come through on the other side of a lesson, and they're using their discernment to sort out like what's come to fruition of this working collaboration that they've been in. With somebody that was potentially blocking them, or something. It doesn't have to be a person, but it can be a relationship, it can be a substance. I am hearing alcohol. It can be a company. It can even be a train of thought. Whatever it was that was like blocking you from ascending or reaching the light. So I'm seeing somebody, again, like calling judgment on this thing, like using their discernment to understand what was going on within this collaboration that they'd found themselves in. It can also be a Capricorn. And once they're able to suss that out, and they're getting connected with the high priestess, which it almost feels like something significant happens when the connection with the high priestess is made. And then I'm seeing the thing with the third eye again. It's like just light shooting out of it and being able to see something and like realize this thing. And there's a lot of momentum that comes with it as well. And finally, that stuck energy that was not moving before gets moving. Like things come tumbling down. And immediately you go into a space of being like, that's that thing that I needed to let go of, that I was holding on to, that wasn't suiting me, that wasn't working for me, that I wasn't meant to be playing around with any longer. Sag, Pluto, Capricorn, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, the Moon. I'm hearing liability. It seems also like there's something going on within the dynamic, like seemingly between these two people, but it can also be two frequencies. It can be like you with yourself, something like that. It can also be another person. And I'm seeing something that's like somewhat unresolved. Like you may be working with somebody that at times triggers you, and you're being guided to like compose yourself and ground, not be reactive, but to be responsive, which means taking the time you need before you like interact within a situation, doing so from a grounded space, mentally, emotionally, all of that. Because you may even have this moment of realizing what you're meant to let go of, and before you do it, you want to get to a place where you feel more composed so you can actually follow through with what needs to be done and like quell any doubts that you have. And this may be a bit of a process as well. The more grounded you are, the more you're going to see and realize what you're meant to see. This is even like slowly moving in the direction of reaching a form of enlightenment with the Hanged Man. But only having that be available to you so long as you are grounded, actively grounding your energy. And once you reach this, I'm hearing source of inspiration, this insight, then you can do something with it. So it's like whatever this is that you gain through the process of the Hanged Man, which is like meditating, reflecting, seeing things from a different perspective, whatever it is that allows you to zoom out, you can then take what you learn through that experience and do something with it. I'm seeing Neptune and Mercury here together. And Uranus. Working on a new way of even working on things. I'm seeing a path that you're stepping onto in a new way because you're seeing things differently, because you have information that you didn't have before. And even understanding why something needed to come to an end. Yeah, this feels like a moment of being like, why did this manifest? Like, what was I meant to receive, learn, pick up, understand from this experience? What was I doing that attracted this into my life? How did I create this? And there's a notion of stepping into a new space, even while you're dealing with the emotional impact of what that was in the first spread. Because I'm seeing you like moved, or you're in some new sort of space. This doesn't have to be physically, although it can be. And there's a sense of like exploring things and working on that and venturing out while still processing this stuff. Still even like wrapping your head around like, why did it need to go in that direction? Because I am seeing an ending that one may still be struggling a bit with. I do keep seeing the Empress on the bottom of the deck. So we're looking at Neptune, Mercury, Uranus, Scorpio. Get just one more. It looks to me also like the way that you're going about doing things, like actively within your life, that's also changing as well. So this is somebody that you know. I'm seeing Scorpio and Neptune, Mercury, Uranus, Scorpio, Gemini. So this is somebody from your past. What it looks like to me is that by developing more on the emotional front when it comes to like your coping strategies, how you ground your energy, like how you process emotionally and all of that, and coming out in a space where you feel like you're even mastering something related to the process, emotionally speaking. It seems also like you're doing things in a new way and maybe feeling more open to possibly even embracing things with your creativity, but this can also mean feeling more comfortable, maybe leading in a different way than you had been before, whether this be like people around you or just yourself. Taking a chance on something, even because you feel brave with it. And I'm seeing there be a notion of planting seeds for something and really working on it. This can be something that has to do with your career in a way that you're maybe changing the way that you're doing something or doing something differently than you had been before. And it even seems like doing something with the intention of like working hard and being able to like reap the benefits of that, whether this be a title that you're working for or a type of job that you want to do, or how you want to like create change within the job that you're already doing. So something is coming about, but it hasn't come to fruition yet. So in the process, I'm also seeing there be a notion where related to and connected with an ending, there was something that you may not have been seeing before, but then with the Hanged Man, it's like the more you think about this and the more you gain perspective and the more insight, you have this understanding of like what was going on and why it went in that direction and why things ended and why they ended in the way that they did and all of that. And then you move through into a big change. It doesn't seem like it's directly connected with the ending. It seems like it's connected with your understanding of the ending, and that's what allows things to change. So it's not even the thing. It's like your perspective of the thing. It feels like this also allows you new space to like even interpret dynamics in relationships. Because I'm even seeing somebody, like, taking all of the emotions that they feel and using it to manifest. So there's a sense of, like, transmuting energy and using it in a beneficial way. So rather than, like, sticking within the Nine of Swords where you feel, like, really beside yourself and distraught, it's about transmuting that and creating it into something else. I'm getting the notion too that, like, I don't know if this is you making an offer to somebody or this is somebody coming through making an offer to you in a way that you want. And it seems in a way like that may be in the front of your brain. But for some of you, there's guidance to take a break or take space away from this. So you realize what you want and what you don't want, even on the emotional front. What you want, what you don't want on the emotional front. Rather than, like, having some, I'm hearing immediacy, rather than feeling like immediately you need to, like, jump into something new, there's a notion here of spacing something out, even in intervals, so you give yourself time to be like, what am I looking for on the emotional front? What is it that I want? I'm also hearing clearing. And to really think about that, like, what direction do I want to be going in? I don't want to go through the same cycle that I just did. I want something different than that. And get to this point where we've reflected enough on something that we can recognize, like, when something comes through or when something's offered to us or when it appears, when it shows up, or when someone shows up, we can ask ourselves and get an answer back very quickly about, like, whether or not it resonates with us, whether or not we feel connected with it. So taking the time now to save you time later. To learn and see what you need to learn and see. All about the internal process rather than the external process. It seems like it's even helping you gather information, like you as the Hermit. It's helping you gather and collect information so that you know which direction you want to be moving in. So you spacing away from that, even if it is something that you want, it's kind of like putting that on the back burner. Taking the time you need. Helping yourself, really. So you can check in with yourself and be like, is this something I want? Is this something that I don't want? Like, in the future, what is that going to look like for me? And really taking the space and the time to analyze that. I'm also hearing comfort yourself and to gather all of the information that you can from this reflection period. So you know, like, when you're ready to come out of hermit mode, like, where am I going? What's the plan? I'm hearing Hermes. I'm just looking at Virgo here. Alright, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for joining. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.